Well, a lot of people have asked me if this is an autobiographical novel, which I find so frightening that people would think that I have some kind of personal experience with that. But in a way, I did have a personal experience with Dracula, because when I was a little girl, my father, who's a professor and a wonderful storyteller, took us, his young family, to Eastern Europe. And while we were there, he told his children this great series of tales about Dracula. And my father's actually a very nice man, I should hasten to add. And the stories he told were basically the plot of all those Bela Lugosi movies, which in turn were based on Bram Stoker's novels. So they were always the story of the valiant Englishman tracking Dracula to his lair, and that classic story that Bram Stoker made up. So I had this kind of wonderfully creeped out feeling about Dracula for about 40 years, and when I sat down, when I had the idea for this novel very suddenly, I just suddenly remembered this image of a father telling a young daughter stories about Dracula in beautiful places in Eastern Europe. And I wondered if that would make a good structure for a novel. And I knew immediately that I wanted the Dracula in my novel to be a researched historical Dracula. I was aware that there had been a real person who was Dracula and was in some ways the inspiration for Bram Stoker. So that was how the novel came to be. And I have to say that I thought that I was writing a book as far as possible from my own experience, but I did end up putting a lot of my travel experience from Eastern Europe into it. And I also ended up, although it is not an autobiographical novel, I ended up describing people in a family who had very much the values of my own family, a love of learning, a reverence for books, and a great curiosity about the world. So, and also a desire to serve or improve the world somehow, which is very much what the father Paul in this book, possibly the main character of the book, feels.
Okay, this next question is for Robert and Karen.